Welcome back, traders. Wanted to update you with another video, walk through a couple of the trades I've been taking as of late, and maybe just kind of show off my indicator. I've had several of you message me and hit me up on Patreon as well as YouTube asking about how I trade, what I do with this indicator. So just more follow up here and into my strategy, really. It's not so much just my indicator as it is my entire strategy. Heavily focused right now on my mindset, my psychology, and I've had some just some different aspects of psychology that have helped me as of late. And so I took a little bit of a break during the holiday, and I think it helped me quite a bit. I'm actually 100% green days on so far in 2026, so can't complain there. So let's look at today. Today was Wednesday, January 26th. So you can see here we have a crossover that 9 EMA with the B signal. I've got my 4 stochastics rolling over, and I've got my off ramp, right? My volume is actually decreasing. It's headed towards the negative side. So using all of that and knowing here on my volume profile, my newest indicator that I've added in here really is just, it wants to move lower. And that's the way that I read it as well. And then it wants to magnetize to the VWAP as well as this average price that is called out here around that 69.87, 69.88 level. So I went ahead and entered here, and I'll show you what this looks like. I'm going to bring up my trading panel. I went in 12 lots, I believe. I'm going to set my stop loss just above. It was actually at about a 300 level, 250, I think, right at the top of that. And then I was going down to the VWAP. So $255 risk to $420 take profit. But watch this as it plays out. And I'm going to play it a little bit more slowly just because I reacted pretty quickly to it. But you see that it actually starts to run in my favor. And I think at one point I was even up $45 or $50 on my actual profit. And then as it started to pull against me, it looked like it wanted to cross over that, that 9 EMA again. So I think I carried it. I may have even carried it into that $150 level that you just saw. But as it started to tick back up here, I realized it wanted to hook back up because my 9 stochastic here, my fast stock, was already showing a pronounced hook at the bottom to indicate it wanted to turn back up. Now that's a short-term thing. I knew that. So what I actually did was close this trade for a break even. I think it was $5 with commission, right, that I took a loss on. But it was a true break even as it came back up to this 9 EMA. So I got out of it. And then I'm going to play the next couple of bars to show you what this looks like. But it continued to go up just a tiny bit, and then it crosses back over that 9 EMA. As it did that, I actually took the opportunity for re-entry here. Kind of consider this a little bit of a double top. It's not quite the same level, but it's in that range. a lot of times you'll see these double tops come up, and this will be the shorter top, and then the other one's up here. It can go both ways, but I still very much consider this range to be a double top, and you could see that the volume looked like it still wanted to continue to go towards the short side. So I took that opportunity, went back in with my 12 lots. Again, I was pretty much break even for the day, right? Now my stop loss is even a little bit tighter, and I had it right down below the VWAP for about a $375 take profit. I think it ended up being $385 total. And just caught the right side of the market here. It flushes down very, very quickly, as you'll see, and tapped my take profit, and I was done for the day on that account. You can even see my indicator here has this ATR to tell me this is the range that you should be expecting that trade to run to. I didn't quite make it that low, but that's okay. I'm perfectly content with where I ended up taking those profits. And then later in the day, there were a few other opportunities that I took, but let me switch over into my trading view or into my TradeZella account and show you what this actually looked like on paper. Okay, so we're over here on my take profit account in TradeZella. You can see again, I've had a really good month so far, but we're only 4 days in, so who's to say if it's going to stay this way? But I'm up about a little over 1,000 for the month. As we dive into this, and you'll see that I've reduced my trades as well. Normally, I'm looking for one trade and one trade only. I look for my best entry. I look for a $200 minimum take profit. And if I hit that level and it starts to hesitate or different things happen, I'm going to go ahead and close that trade. I'd rather take those profits. So as I get into this, you can see my $5 loss, and that's really just commissions. That was that early entry that I was just a little bit too early on. So entered here, saw that it was ticking back against me, got out at break even, and then had the better opportunity just a few candlesticks later and took it down almost to the bottom of this. It was nearly to the bottom of that candle, but there was a candle that went maybe a few ticks lower than that. That's okay. I am perfectly content taking a $338 profit and not worrying about, well, yeah, it came back up here and it could have kept riding it all the way down to the 69.78 level. I'm just not interested in chasing those gains. What I am working on is my mindset and my psychology to be able to hold these trades better. Now, this is a bad example of that just because it was such a fast-moving trade. I got back in that second chance that I got, and it was only 2 candlesticks and tapped me. And that's, I'm not going to complain about that, but that's not really helping my mental aspect of remembering and breathing through these trades so that you can hold them longer. So that was my trade today. We can go into a couple of these other trades, but I don't want to rehash a bunch of them with you. This one was a little bit of a misstep on my part, and I'll show you what that looked like. Just because it's a fully green day doesn't mean it was my best trading session. You can see that I did take a short here, and it was a great short. But as this started ticking up against me and back to break even here on this, what are we, almost 5-6 minutes later, that made me really anxious. And so I wanted to take a little bit of profit, took an $84 profit. Look at what happened to the trade. By the way, my take profit was about right here at the 69.58 level. So would have been a very good trade. And then I re-entered, which is a terrible habit. Don't recommend it. But as it pulled back here against the 9 EMA, I went ahead and re-entered and even scaled in a little bit and then just took another $109 profit. So felt much worse, but somehow made money. I want to call that out because I'm calling out just because something worked does not mean I want my brain to have that reinforced. That is a bad behavior that should not be reinforced by taking a profit. That is one of the most dangerous things I think you can have in trading, is when your mistakes actually work out and your brain thinks, well, I can do that every time. I promise you it will burn you. I've had it burn me in the past. Just not worth it. You take your profit and you close the charts for the day. Sometimes I think we're a little bit too drawn into the charts, and I get why. I've been addicted to charts myself. In my 7 years of trading, I definitely love looking at the charts. It's exciting. It gives you a dopamine kick. Let's be honest. It's a little bit of an addiction, and that is the dangerous part. So what I've been focused on is taking that single trade. I close it down after that. And I do check in periodically on TradingView, but with a very different mindset. I'm not looking for setups anymore. I'm just wanting to make sure that I keep up with how MES is moving. I need to make sure that I understand its methodology and its structure as it moves through. What made it move faster? What made it rip lower? What any of those things. So I do still want to keep up on those, but what I don't do is just stare at the chart. That is when you end up taking a lot more trades, and over trading is the fastest way to blow your account. So I'll keep you guys posted as I continue on this account. But this is actually a take profit challenge that I think I started on December 11th, and you can see I was actually pretty in the red back here in December. Had a few bad days. So overall, my December was actually a negative 546. I've made that back and then some. But again, I'm not really focused on that. I'm not focused even on so much of I need to stay green. I'm just focused on hitting one good setup. And my ideal setup is going to have a double top or double bottom. If I'm looking for long, then it's a double bottom, right? And there were several of those opportunities today as well. You could see this one right here. So you've got a bottom here and a bottom here. My indicator calls all of these out to me, but that would have been a tough trade to hold. Yes, it would have rocketed up pretty good here, but then it immediately pulled back and just kind of consolidated a lot of the day. So short was the right side to be on. Again, I'm kind of taking that as a double top, even though it's not quite. And yeah, it was a great trade today, but that's really all I had for you today. I wanted to just call this out to you, get another video out there. I want to try to keep these videos a little bit shorter, give you some good content. What I may do in the interim is a little bit less focused on my actual trades and a little and more on the mindset. That has been my primary focus as of late. I've realized some of the gaps that I came to have, and they are recurring. They just happen over and over. They're battles I fought before, and I have to get back into the right mindset. The right mindset, for me at least, I'm going to call this out as a for me. It's not this way for everyone, but I would argue it should be. If you are looking to make it long term in trading, it shouldn't be an emotional thing. It shouldn't be elation when you win. It shouldn't be big celebration, excitement, because that reinforces your brain to think that this is easy and that it knows and that it can just go ahead and make these trades all the time. That is the most dangerous mindset for me, is that elation. Alternatively, when you're having a losing streak, you don't want to get so down on yourself that your brain just thinks this is painful. I want to get away from trading. That's also dangerous, but in a different way, right? It's going to start to make you scared of every trade. It's going to train your brain to think I can't hold this any longer. I'm up $84. I'm going to take my profit. That's also dangerous because now you don't have a good risk to reward and you're just not going to be able to hold those trades longer. That is one of the most difficult things, by the way, for trading, at least for me, has been. I have been a profitable trader, but more often than not over the last 2 years, I've been a break-even trader. And you'll hear people talk about break-even trading is great trading. It doesn't feel great. I'll tell you that right now. Break-even trading feels like I'm working damn hard to spin my wheels and go nowhere. So just want to, I'll turn a little bit more of my focus into the psychology and maybe some of the things I've learned in some of the books and different things that I'm following. But that's it for now. Catch you in the next one.